March Madness is nearly upon us. Brackets lock. I don't know why I can't speak today. Brackets lock at 11:15 Central tomorrow. We are almost here, and the Illini are a 6 seed in the Midwest region. I like their seeding draw. Overall, right? They will play the winner of the first 4 game that is tonight between Texas of the SEC and Xavier of the Big East. They are playing at 8:10 Central Time tonight and 9:10 Eastern. So if you want to get a preview of Illinois' next opponent and also know who that opponent is, watch that game tonight because that will decide who's taking on the Illini on Friday. So they have Texas and Xavier first, right? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not super worried about either Texas or Xavier. I'm predicting Texas will win. I'm not really sure Xavier should even be in the tournament. The Big East is kind of down anyway, even if they did belong. So I'm guessing their opponent is going to be Texas. That's certainly not easy, but if I've learned anything about this Illinois team, right, it's that they can't really compete with these high-end championship contender teams, but they take care of business when they need to take care of business, right? They take care of Iowa and they're in the midst of the losing streak. They take care of the Iowas when they're in the Big Ten tournament. I think they will take care of Texas in the first round. A lot of people are picking this upset, right? Because we usually see a first 4 team make it through the first round. I mean, almost always. It's almost a guarantee. I actually think, though, that UNC, who won last night, is a much bigger threat, right? With all the talk about how they shouldn't be in the tournament, the way they dominated San Diego State last night in their 11-seed first 4 game, their draw with Ole Miss. I think UNC is actually going to be the team to get it done, and our Illini are going to be fine against Texas. The biggest thing about this matchup for me is this quadrant of Illinois and then Texas/Xavier. And then on the other side of it, of course, is Kentucky, the 3 seed, and then the 14 seed in Troy. Their quadrant is being played in Milwaukee. So that's a clear home court advantage for the Illini. One of the biggest across the entire tournament, other than Louisville getting to play in Lexington, and then probably BYU and Montana getting to play in Denver in the altitude that they're used to. Outside of those, this is a big home court advantage for Illinois, right? So I really find it hard to believe that they're going to lose to Texas or Xavier in the first round like people are predicting. Kentucky would be really tough, right? I don't think Kentucky's going to lose to Troy. They lost to a 14 seed last year. That usually teams that lose off a big upset one year do fine the next year, especially if they're the same seed. I don't think they're going to lose again to a 14 seed. So I can almost guarantee you that Illinois' second round matchup will be against Kentucky, and that'll still be in Milwaukee. That would be on Sunday if they are to survive their Friday night matchup. That one worries me a little bit, right? Because Kentucky is very similar style of play to Illinois. They score a lot of points and aren't the best defensive team. And they just shoot the ball a little better than Illinois does. And they're just a little more efficient at playing Illinois' game. It's very similar to when they played Bama way back when at the start of this season. Certainly can compete with Kentucky. Certainly think they can win that game, right? But in my official bracket predictions, I do think that Kentucky is gonna beat our Illini, guys. But there's plenty of reasons to believe. Of course, I have reasons to believe, to fool myself into thinking they have a chance, right? Even though they really haven't proven that against national championship contender teams. I do consider Kentucky to be a national championship contender team. You can certainly debate me on that, but that's what I'm feeling for Kentucky. Ballard Sports Media, hey, what's up? Thanks for the comment. Kentucky just worries me. Again, like I said this in my Maryland video if you want to watch that from Friday night. But this team has not proven to me that they can beat a true contender. They can beat ranked teams, sure. They can beat Texas, right? I think they'll get past Texas with their home court advantage, as I've said. But they haven't proven to me that they can beat a team like Kentucky. They just haven't. The most similar game I look at is the Alabama game, and I think this one is going to play out similarly, even though that was back at the start of the season. So I do predict that. But again, Illinois has one of the highest ceilings of any team outside of the first 4 seeds in the tournament, right? I mean, they can score. I won't say they can beat everybody. They can certainly score enough to compete with everybody, and they can certainly win this game. It really just depends what Illini team we're going to get. Are we going to get an ice-cold team that came out against Maryland that is going to get beaten down in the first 10 minutes and never have a chance after that because they panic, right? Or are we going to get the Illini team that is on fire, that dominated Michigan in the second half of that game in Ann Arbor the other week? We just don't know. That Illinois is the most unpredictable team in this entire tournament, honestly. And that's as someone who's watched more Illini basketball games, way more than all these other teams, and yet they're still the most unpredictable team to me. That's how streaky this Illini basketball team is. I certainly think they can get past Kentucky. I just don't see it right now. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about Illinois versus Texas, Illinois versus Kentucky, or even further down the road, right? So in the bottom quadrant of their bracket, they have UCLA versus Utah State, and then we have Tennessee versus Wofford. They're likely to play Tennessee. There is a chance UCLA comes out of that one. I'm not really sold that they can beat Tennessee, but if they do, Illinois has beaten UCLA this year. Tennessee, I think, would be a major problem for Illinois. I think they get crushed. If they don't get crushed, if they somehow get past Tennessee, which it's weird to say that they get crushed, right? Because they lost to Tennessee by 1 point. But I just think the lights of March, Illinois the lights are always a little too bright for Illinois and these Brad Underwood coached teams. So I just don't see it. Obviously, they can beat Tennessee, right? They lost to them by 1 point back in December. But I think this Tennessee team is a lot better than they were then, even though they were ranked number 1. I think the whole SEC is just going to have a field day with some of the teams in this tournament, right? I find it hard to get past Tennessee, but again, certainly possible, right? The Elite Eight is certainly possible for the Illini. They certainly can beat Kentucky. They certainly can beat Tennessee. And then the 1 seed that'd be waiting for us in our region would be Houston. I think that's an absolute nightmare matchup for Illinois if they get to that point, right? An Elite Eight game against Houston. Houston is so efficient from 3. They are so good defensively. They're the counter of everything that Illinois is. I would be very worried about a Houston matchup. But certainly the ceiling I see for this team is Elite Eight. The floor would be losing round 1. I don't see that, though, personally. So I guess I'll say my floor would be losing to Kentucky. Second round, that certainly would be unexpected. It would be very disappointing, though, based off where this team was last year. But, I mean, you got to give the young guys credit no matter what happens. This is a very young team. Our leading scorer is a freshman. So that's what I'm thinking about the Illini's tournament preview. Please let me know what you think.